well, looking forward to this. They're getting ready to go.
When the lights go off, we're going. It's a 2023 Daytona 200, and race action has gotten underway, and it looks like the #1 plate of Josh Herrin gets a good launch, and he's going to lead us through turn 1. Now it's a matter of keeping your nose clean and trying to get through these corners. You can see riders trying to find position in the back part, but here goes Herrin.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. This is where you just got to stay clean, like you say. Things can get bottlenecked up here as they go into the International Horseshoe. Everybody looks like they're going to get through that okay, and then you're going to go into this really fast kink. First lap out, you see Herrin with Eslick right behind him. PJ Jacobsen is also, you can see him in the yellow just to the outside now of Eslick. He goes around the outside of him there, and I believe it's Escalante or Ty Scott there in 4th.
Brandon Posh buried back there. Looks like he's about 9th or 10th place at the moment, trying to go for that three-peat. But it's 4-time Daytona 200 champion Danny Eslick in 3rd on that TOBC Racing Triumph. Up onto the banking they go for the first time. PJ Jacobsen looks like he's going to pull out of the draft. He had a notion to take over the lead, but Herrin on his V2 Ducati doing a great job of fending him off as they head towards the first time into the chicane.
And PJ's, like you heard him say, he's been running around by himself all weekend long. Some of these guys have teammates. PJ does in True Love, but he's been by himself all weekend long. I ran into his dad this morning grabbing a coffee, and he was talking to me about just that he's been just kind of doing times by himself, seeing how things go. And so, you know, he's going to be experiencing that draft. And look how quick he was through the chicane on that first lap. Now you're going to see these other 4 bikes behind him draw up to the back of PJ Jacobsen as they come down towards the tri-oval for that first lap. It's always fun to lead the first lap here of the 200, but the most important one's that 57th one.
Cameron Peterson on the attack bike down part of your screen. As you can see, 2 riders just blow by PJ Jacobsen on that. You have a 600cc inline 4-cylinder of Josh Hayes and PJ Jacobsen. There are bikes of all different manufacturers, all different displacement sizes, all controlled to create an equal playing field, and that's what you're seeing on the high banks of Daytona. Well, the banking doesn't really even need the draft and pass too much. The biggest news is not just the temperature, but also the fact that there is not much wind blowing. The wind has picked up during the course of the day, as now we go off into turn #1 and another lead change. And there's Josh Hayes falling victim to PJ Jacobsen.
Yeah, just during our commercial break, I was looking out our window and I saw Cam Peterson go down the outside of Teague Hobbs going down to turn 1. And I thought I saw some corner workers running there, Greg, and I don't see him
as quickly as possible. The lead group up front remains the same. It's Richie Escalante who leads Josh Herrin. Josh Herrin has had the fastest lap of the race back on lap 10, a 1:49 flat. Currently, this lead group circulating in the 150 mid-range as PJ Jacobsen goes to the top of the pile.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. And you can, you know, that could be somewhat punishing at a go-kart track, doing that many laps and sticking out there for that long. You know, Daytona, Greg, has never been a super physical place because I think that you've got to try to take care of your equipment the best that you can.
Hayes right there. Jay, the one thing we haven't seen from the #4 is any fight on the banking. Oh, as Hayes locks up the rear.
All right, he did a good job there of just keeping the bike on track. So you can see it was almost like he missed a shift or something, or it went into a gear or false neutral and jumped into gear. Did you see how it went sideways?
As we think it might be something to do with a shifting issue. Now they've kind of figured that whole situation out. Up front, here we have Richie Escalante and Josh Herrin. Jason, we kind of talked about this, and we think from the pace that we've seen from Josh Herrin all weekend long that he was definitely one of the favorites. Josh Hayes still right there.
Man, it's just like, I love Josh Hayes. I really do. I think that it's amazing that he can just keep clawing these guys back.
PJ, he gets by Danny Eslick, he's back up into 4th and giving it everything he can.
Yeah, and he just has to keep his head down, and then maybe next pit stop, hopefully they don't make that mistake, and anything can happen. And oh, PJ's down.
Oh, big off by PJ, and we're going to send it back to the MAB booth to pick it up.
You're going to be trailing off into there just a little bit, and when you go over that thing with any kind of maybe a little bit of lever on, Herrin just a little bit wide again down there into turn 1, and we've seen him do that a couple times as well as the horseshoe.
Long race, 17 laps to go. Just amazed at the fuel economy that both these riders are getting out of their bikes, and that they feel that they can go 20 laps confidently on those Dunlop tires.
Both are getting snapped around a little bit out of the seat. Saw that out of the horseshoe there, and saw Herrin a little bit out of turn 1, but
it's 8 to go for the 54, the 1 in the rest of this field. Herrin going up the inside, and he takes him out.
Wow. Oh.
Escalante with nowhere to go, and a surprise move from Herrin.
Oh, man.
And just enough to clean Escalante out, and he goes down. And he is not happy about that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good there. He wants to get back to the bike. He's going to try to pick it up.
Well, it looked like electronics, the dashboard.
Yeah. And right there, it's
I mean, Josh was in, the bike was turned. He was in front of him.
Josh Herrin is cooling off here. Just going to grab a quick word with him. Josh, what can you tell me about the incident with you and Richie Escalante getting together out there?
I was just lining that pass up the entire race. I knew there's about 10, 15 laps to go. Just tried seeing if I could do it because I knew that it would fluster him at the end of the race if I could get in under there because he was leaving an opening. I had the pass and he stayed leaned over. That's what I saw out of it. You know, yeah. I'm just trying my hardest out there to get up with the game plan because the guy's got about 15 horsepower on me, it seems like. So just trying to figure out any pass I could possibly do for the last lap, and yeah.
Josh Herrin looking for a way through.
Thanks, Hannah and Greg. Well,
you look at this angle. He is. I mean, it's the back tire. He is in front. He is in front.
Yeah, he is technically in front.
Yeah. There's no arguing that he's in front. You know, that isn't it. You know, I think what they'd be looking at is the angle as Richie was turning in when Josh came through and ran wide. So, yeah, this is a tough one. I mean, it could be a racing incident or, you know, they could judge it either way. But
now, there were 5 laps left, but AMA-FIM has added 5 laps to the race. So Hannah is with Scott Paget, who is the chief steward for MotoAmerica, to explain. Hannah?
I'm with Scott Paget, chief grid steward for MotoAmerica. Scott, take us through this restart procedure.
Okay, the rules stated that to have a complete race, we would have to have run 53 laps. The red flag came out on lap 52. Therefore, we're going to have a restart. It's going to be a 10-lap restart per race direction. That restart will be based on the grid, will be based on the last completed lap, and we're going to have a quick start procedure here, hopefully shortly in about 5 minutes.
All right, thank you, Scott.
All right, so when we went to break, Josh Herrin was leading over Josh Hayes and Brandon Posh. Teague Hobbs had hit the deck in 4th place. Hayden Gillum in 5th and Cameron Peterson in 6th. That would be our first 2 rows. However, Jason Pridmore, during the red flag, race direction made a call that with the incident between Josh Herrin and Richie Escalante earlier in the race a few laps ago, where Herrin and Escalante collided, crashing Escalante out of the race, Herrin's been penalized 6 grid positions. So now Josh Hayes is going to start from the number 1 spot or pole position. Brandon Posh and Teague Hobbs will be on the front row with him. Hayden Gillum, Cameron Peterson, and I believe Josh Herrin will be in that 6th spot.
I think Herrin's on I saw him gridded up 7th.
7th, okay, yeah. So Jeff May then moves to row number 2 on the 99.
Teague Hobbs goes to the front of the Daytona 200 over Herrin. Posh just behind Hayden Gillum. Herrin's going to try to go down the outside as they go down into turn 1 and make that pass, and he does. And now he's going to try to put his head down through this infield section. You can see Cam Peterson there as well now.
Now we're going to see who's got the draft and pass. You can see it looks like a move's being made for 5th spot in the right part of your screen. And now for 3rd. So Posh, who had early pace on that first lap, the one thing we don't know, Jason, and this is really the unknown at this point with the amount of laps we have remaining in this race, is who's got the tires underneath them.
That's right. Cam Peterson and Hayden Gillum, and it doesn't look like he really could there. And you can see Cam's got a bike underneath him right now. He wants to go and challenge up at the front right now with these guys. You see Herrin and Cam Peterson are both going to try to go around the outside. We have another faller, looks like number 103.
Yeah, that's Arango. Who had a good run at it. Top pro motorsports racer.
Sees Cam Peterson go by him. It's not going to bother him too much, other than it's a deal where if Cam gets out in front now, let's see what happens here. I'm curious to see if Herrin tries to outbrake him going down into the chicane, or if Cam even tries to outbrake Herrin into the chicane. I do like the fact that I'm seeing that the group is starting to like be able to stay together a little bit. Hayes has got himself back from almost like back in 6th spot. But now he's going to need that bike in front of him to pull him up to those other 4 bikes. When they come by this time, Greg, it'll be 4 to go.
Going down low is Cameron Peterson. Ooh, look at the aggressive move across the banking. For the 95, Disrupt Racing's Hayden Gillum. There goes Herron. Nice draft and pass maneuver. Getting after it right now out front, and he's actually looking comfortable leading this race. But look at how many riders are behind with the possibility of winning this thing. 8 riders all in the fray, 4 wide on the banking. With 3 laps to go, it's time to start formulating your plan. And it'll be Cameron Peterson taking us through turn number 1. Josh Hayes back there in 4th spot, just behind Josh Herron. Part of the next generation motorcycles, the old school Yamaha R6, the tried and true, the reference for torque for all the bikes in the next generation category. The Yamaha R6, prepared by Attack Performance.
Oh, Blake Davis with a big drive down the back, gets behind both these guys. Double draft's going to put him into 2nd as they get into the chicane. Now he's going to see if he can draft past that Attack R6 up in front of him. Cam Peterson wheelies. He knows he's coming to the white flag this time by. He has a look over his shoulder, sees he's pulled a small back gap. Now you've got him queuing up 3 wide. That's going to help Herron as he's going to get the draft, take that Ducati down to the bottom. It might be a little soon for Herron to do that, only because let's see if these other guys can pull back up on that Ducati. Hayes now showing some speed. White flag flies.
Here we go, the final lap of the Daytona 200. Brandon Posh is right there as well, the 2-time winner. Josh Herron hasn't won it since 2010. Hayes has never won it. Blake Davis, are you kidding me?
I love it. So great seeing him doing this. And Hayden Gillum also. And there's probably some guy. Oh, Cam got in there deep. You can see he was doing everything he could to get that bike stopped. You saw that R6 chattering just in front. He was trying to stay off the back of Hayes. Everybody is trying to lock themselves into a position, Greg, that's going to put them in the most advantageous spot on that run as Hayes looks to go down the inside of Cam Peterson for that 2nd horseshoe. Doesn't make it. Look who's coming. 4th place, Brandon Posh slides up the inside of Blake Davis, and he's put himself in the exact same spot that he was in this time last year.
The chicane is going to make the difference. Josh Herron has not been the strongest rider through the chicane all race long. Can he nail it? Look who's going up the inside. It's Josh Hayes as he drives onto the banking. Herring spinning up onto the edge of the banking, so it's now Josh Hayes who leads the way. They're going to sail us off into the chicane. Who's going to have the late braking and wants to lead out of the chicane? They're going 5 wide. Blake Davis down at the bottom. Here goes Josh Hayes. Now they're going to sit up and brake for the chicane. Who's going to want to take the spot? Josh Herron.
Josh Hayes feels like he has to lead from the front. He's going to try to get through the chicane. Look at the gap.
Ooh.
Look at that gap. And
Herron lost the front.
A little bit loose.
Herron lost the front. So Josh Hayes now with a big gap. Is it going to be enough? I don't think so, because here comes 3 very fast motorcycles behind him. But Hayes is starting to hold them off. We don't see any big moves happening in the back, but they're trying to time it perfectly. The checkered flag awaits. Josh Hayes has nothing but daylight in front of him. Has he done enough? Here comes Josh Herron around the inside, and on the outside goes Brandon Posh to the checkered flag, and Jason Bridmore. It's Josh Herron who wins the Daytona 200 by 0.07 of a second over Josh Hayes. Brandon Posh in 3rd. Cameron Peterson 4th. Hayden Gillum in 5th. Blake Davis will be credited with 6th place. P.J. Jacobson in 7th. Teague Hobbs in 8th. Jeff May 9th. And Danny Eslick in 10th spot. As they come through, look at the gap Hayes had, but man, the freight train is rolling.
Yeah, and everybody behind is just trying to get into that spot. And right now, Posh is probably thinking it's going to be a repeat of last year. But Herron was able to go by and go through.
So that's as close as you like it. That's what at speed.